So Chris Eubank Jr. will take on Liam Williams on Saturday the 11th of December at the Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff. This fight seems to be received very well by the boxing public, and I can certainly understand why. I think this is a very good fight, very exciting fight, and it's actually a fight that I called for a couple of months ago. This was when it was announced that Chris Eubank Jr. would be fighting Sven Elbir, aka Batman, and I, like many people, was critical of that level of opponent because it was, to be honest, shocking. And you know, it was all good and well, Chris Eubank Jr. always calling out Gennady Golovkin and Canelo, but to do that, to call out those guys and then fight the likes of the level of opposition that he'd fought, 7 years prior when he was a prospect, it wasn't a good look. It wasn't convincing. And I said he should take on the likes of Liam Williams, who'd just come off a points loss to Demetrius Andrade, to basically force his rivals into a corner where they'd have to fight him. So credit to him, that's what he's done. And yeah, as I say, it's a good fight. It's an entertaining fight. I think it has the ingredients to be a real back and forth battle. Just to kind of get some early analysis in, like pre-fight analysis, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Liam Williams in particular approaches this fight, because he has I don't think the Andrade fight, his last fight, is the truest representation of him. I think that's one version of Liam Williams where, if he's being, for lack of a better term, just outskilled, because that's really what happened in the Andrade fight. He was just in with someone who was much slicker, probably a bit more accomplished as a boxer. We saw that he was willing to bite down on his gum shield and pretty much have a street fight. It was like a barroom brawl. And he really did dish out some damage onto Andrade. And so we know he has that aspect to him. But there is some subtlety when it comes to Liam Williams. He is willing to box at long range. And we know that Eubank Jr. tends to struggle with people who engage him in a boxing match where they challenge his IQ, because Eubank Jr., he's a good athlete, but when it comes to IQ and technique, it leaves quite a bit to be desired. He rips his 100 punch combinations, as Eubank Sr. would say, but that's only one factor, and we've seen him be outboxed before. George Groves really beat Eubank Jr. up. So it's going to be interesting to see the approach of Liam Williams in particular. This is definitely a style that's going to flatter Eubank Jr. a bit more, say, compared to if he just jumped in the ring with Demetrius Andrade. But I think it still has the makings of a good fight, because if you see Liam Williams, he's a good puncher. He's a legitimate puncher, even though he's come up from light middleweight. And yeah, he's clean knockouts have come at a lower level, but he's still able to starch people pretty good. And he had Demetrius Andrade on wobbly legs several times in their fight, so he can crack. And Eubank Jr., yeah, he's got a good chin, but he does leave himself open at times. Not so much since he's been with Roy Jones, but then again, he hasn't really been in against the highest level opposition who can necessarily capitalise. Even though Marcus Morrison, for example, they got into some exchanges at points, and Eubank Jr. came off second best. And I'm willing to wager that Liam Williams hits much harder than Marcus Morrison. So Eubank Jr. will have to be careful, because he has a good chin and he has a good work rate, but that's not necessarily something you want to bank on. You'd rather employ good defense than just rely on your chin, at least if you want to have any brain cells by the time you retire. But I think it will make for a good fight, a very good back and forth battle. And I actually kind of see it kind of following a similar pattern to the Eubank Jr. Nick Blackwell fight. That was back in March 2016. Though it must be said that Eubank Jr. has improved a fair amount since that fight, but then also Liam Williams is a much better fighter than Nick Blackwell. I think he punches harder, may not be as big or roughly the same size, but I think he's stronger and probably impose himself a bit more effectively, has better skills, and just is a better fighter all round. So I think it will be a challenge for Eubank Jr. He'll have to be careful when it comes to exchanging with Williams, because Williams is sharp, he's got some decent speed, he's got decent power, and he's no slouch, you know. He's the Andrade fight, as I say, makes him look like a bit of a street fighter, but that's just one aspect of his game. He does have some skills. So yeah, as you can probably tell, I like this fight. Do you like it? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, early predictions. Do you think Eubank, Williams, what method? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, just a bit of housekeeping. I've just tried to upload a 26-minute long film study of Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant, but the thing has just been butchered by copyright claims, and yeah, it gives me the option to trim out the parts of the video that have been copyright claimed, and it just butchers it, and I can't upload it, guys. I'm sorry, but I did try. It was a decent video, I guess, but yeah, just to keep you in the loop with that one. But nevertheless, let's chin up and we carry on moving forwards. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.